According to a new poll from Rasmussen, 60% of voters under 40 approve of Donald Trump's job performance. Now, Rasmussen tends to have a fairly good track record. But of course, I'm going to bring you the aggregate polling because it does not reflect as such. It's still pretty good for Donald Trump. He's doing really well, best of his career, though he is seeing a slight decline. Let me make sure I pull up the 538 Trump job approval, which I believe is gone down. He still has, look at this. It's basically tied at this point. So over time, Trump's beautiful approval rating has now tapered down. This is to be expected, actually, but still, this is RCP. Let's do Trump approval. Still the best numbers of Trump's career. And right now his spread is 0.6 on Real Clear Politics. But the youth, not so much the youth, but the under 40 support for Trump being 60% is actually tremendous. But it is one poll. That's why I immediately showed you the aggregate. I do want to go through Civic's data, and I'm going to show you why Democrats are a cult. Now, don't get me wrong, Republicans don't get any free passes here either. But what we see when we look at Civic's data trends is that you ask a Democrat, how's the economy doing? And they said, everything's great. Inauguration day happens. All of a sudden, they're like, the economy's bad. And it's like, what? Well, these people largely just march in lockstep with whatever the media says. So when the average person is complaining about the economy and Democrats are going, burp, 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 sure enough, we start to see afterwards, the media picks up the story because now Biden's out of office. That's what you get. Republicans have similar trends, don't get me wrong. Not the same, though. As it were, with Republicans, there is a light tendency, and with Democrats, there is a strong tendency. That is to say, when you look at the data, and again, I'll pull it up for you, Republicans do have a bit of this trend where they're like, Trump's in office, the economy is good. Then Trump leaves office, and all of a sudden everything's bad. Mostly not, though. In fact, when you look at the data, when you look at the numbers from Trump's first term as he was leaving, economic numbers were actually collapsing among Republican voters before Biden got in. In fact, well before, which is indicative of COVID. And the economy was failing. And everybody said it was bad. Probably why Trump lost. Well, not the only reason, but you get it. Here's a story from the Post Millennial. A new poll from Rasmussen reports has revealed that a majority of voters under the age of 40 approve of President Trump's job performance, over 10 points higher than those in the 40 to 64 age group. Now, I will say, polling 40 and under, it's a weird number. We normally don't do that. We have demographic groups, right? So you have like 18 to 34, you have 35 to 54. To do 40 to 64 and 40 below, what you got to be careful of with these polls is that, they're going to choose blocks, like gerrymandering the poll. Because we could say 45 and under, right? If we're talking about working age, pre-retirement, we'd say 54. But then Trump's approval rating's not so good, is it? 40 and below does matter because you're talking about a younger cohort. But wouldn't we go 35 and below? I'm just saying. Keep that in mind. And then we'll look at the aggregate data from Civics, which is a different polling institution. The poll found that a total of 60% of voters between the ages of 18 and 39 approve of Trump's job performance, including 35% who strongly approve. Overall, 35% of likely voters strongly approved of Trump's job performance and 15% somewhat approved. More voters in the youngest age group also said the country was heading in the right direction as compared to their two older counterparts, with 54% in the 18 to 39 age bracket responding as such. In the 40 to 64 age group, 41% said the country was going in the right direction. 65 in the older group, 42% said it was on the right track. Now, here's what I want to show you from Civics. If we go to Trump's job approval, what I will say right now, Civics is a single pollster, and we need to consider the bias right here. And I mean it. 538, which is not a big Trump-supporting aggregate. It's ABC News. Has Trump currently above water by 0.1. That's substantial. That's in aggregate. That's all of the polls. Look at it. You got polls from February 28th going back February 21st. You've got here, a dozen or so polls swinging wildly across the board. RNG is saying Trump's up 8. CNN saying Trump's down 4. Who knows, right? The point is, when you track Trump in aggregate, he is above water. When you go to Civics, they have Trump down 7. So consider that as we go through these numbers. I don't think any single pollster is the best. That's why I bring this up, because as much as I do want to use Civics to kind of break down how Republicans and Democrats vote and what they're currently supporting, it does appear that Civics skews more in favor of Democrats. Donald Trump approval, 18 to 34, 61% disapprove. Sorry, man. You're going to come to me and say that under 40 really do support Trump. And I'm going to roll my eyes a little bit and be like, I don't know about that. I know Gen Xers, if you're looking at like 50 years old to 40 years old or something like that, maybe. But again, maybe if you throw in that 40 plus, things skew pretty heavily. Still, when we look at 35 to 49 from Civics, we can see Trump's disapproval at 54%. So this is what we have. Civics, you can choose to trust him or not. Rasmussen. To be fair, Rasmussen was considered to be one of the most accurate, if not the most accurate pollster in the 2024 race. So I'm going to give him that credit. Maybe they're right. Maybe these Civics and these other companies don't know how to adapt their polling. So let's take a look at the national economy. National economy, it's very funny. Okay. So this has got 1,054,000 responses from 2015 to 2025. 10 years. Isn't that crazy? So let's take a look at this. Election day 2016, people said 38% fairly good economy. Trump gets inaugurated. All of a sudden, people are loving it. The economy is doing really, really well. The coronavirus crash happens, and all of a sudden, everyone's saying things are going pretty poorly. All right. Well, let's take a look at how Republicans viewed everything. When you take a look at the Republican polling, going back a long time, on election day 2016, before, 45%, 47%, 48% of Republicans said the economy was very bad, with 36% saying fairly bad. That is massive, massive failure. We're looking at 84% of Republicans saying the economy was bad under Obama. Trump gets inaugurated, and we begin to see a slow drop over the next couple of months. And I shouldn't say slow. It's rising rapidly as Trump, over the next 2 months, because again, we see the inversion, the inflection point about 3-4 weeks into Trump's first term. The economy is improving, so saith Republicans. Republicans got to the point where in January of 2020, 77% said it was very good. And then COVID happened. And all of a sudden, everyone said it was bad. And I can respect that. Now, check this out. In October of 2020, 65% said it was fairly good, but that began to drop off. And then, and these are Republicans, by the way, you get Inauguration Day. That number drops handily over a week or two. To now, Republicans largely view the economy as fairly bad. You mean to tell me that you thought the economy was mostly good, then as soon as Biden got elected, it flipped? Well, the funny thing is, it's not as big a swing as we've seen. It didn't peak to very bad until 2022. Things were pretty bad. But the interesting thing about those years is while Republicans certainly did follow a trend we expect from partisans, there were a ton of executive actions that were taken by Joe Biden, that saw wages flatline and inflation skyrocket. There were a lot of actions taken in the immediate, such as shutting down Keystone Pipeline, that had a dramatic effect instantly on the economy. But I will tell you this, I largely view it as Republicans were mad Biden won. Let's take a look at how Democrats handle things. Aha. Surprise, surprise. As of right now, you have the exact same metrics, but with Democrats, it's a bit more pronounced than Republicans. That's why I say Democrats are the cult. Republicans, we know, have their Trump culty guys. But largely, you have a coalition of moderates, post-liberals, classic liberals, etc., who don't completely agree on everything. Before Biden left office, 50% of Democrats said the economy was fairly good, and 20% said very good. And then I kid you not, within a week of Trump getting in, it completely flips. Are you kidding me? And now 34% say fairly bad. Only 7% say very good. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And what we see here is it's a relatively new phenomenon. During Donald Trump's first administration, Democrats actually thought the economy was pretty good. 54% fairly good. And then COVID happened and it went bad. And that is true. I guess what I'm saying, my friends, is the hyperpolarization, it's worse now. And the polling data ain't really breaking down for us what exactly is going on. I do think Democrats are morons for their cult-like behavior right now. Republicans, I do think it's fair to say a few things. That when a presidential administration flips, you will get executive orders and changes that happen quick in the short term. But right now, Democrats were saying everything was fine. Don Lemon was going out, interviewing people, saying the economy's fine, the numbers say so. And now they're all saying, economy is bad, because they were lying. Okay? They were lying. This shows to me that Democrats largely follow the media. And don't get me wrong, Republicans don't get any free passes, I'm telling you. But for the most part, it's not as pronounced. Certainly, it does exist. That is to say, y'all are both bad, Democrats are a bit worse. I love this. Among Republicans right now, the amount that view the economy as very bad has dropped quite a bit, and now fairly good has jumped up. However, the people who think it's fairly bad have only continued to say it's fairly bad. So right now, even though Republicans have won, Republicans are still saying it's fairly bad. The very bad cohort has dropped quite a bit, though, which is absolutely hilarious, that after Election Day, it's not even Trump getting inaugurated. Trump wins. They're like, actually, the economy's not so bad. Partisans, man. That's why I say, I don't know. Rasmussen does a pretty good job, okay? You know what matters? Are we going to win the midterms? Is Trump going to be able to bring about real change? But one thing I'll tell you is I got no problem calling out everybody, okay, when they play stupid games and they're playing partisan games. I'm going to wrap it up there. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Comments. I need to know what you think. And we got Timcast IRL come up tonight, 8 p.m. Don't want to miss it. Tomorrow, State of the Union, although they're saying it's not really, but it is. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all tonight.